small portion.
Sounds fun. If it's Paige, I'm gonna shit all over her boyfriend.
I mean, I would do so many things to her.
Should we play some tunes before we get into it?
Welcome to
just-
I Hate the Scene.
And we're back! Episode 119. I'm sure they'll complain about this too.
I mean, obviously, that's all they do is complain. But
all right, you guys ready to rip on Dance Gavin tonight?
Okay, immediately. Hey, I'm glad that we're starting off on that foot because I feel like now that we've turned the leaf, people know what to expect from us. We're coming uncensored, unfiltered, underground, baby. We're off the cuff. We're just making sure that our message
unwashed, unclean, uncircumcised.
We're making sure that our message comes across loud and clear for all you fucking nerds.
Now we're back!
Yeah, I'm glad that you yelled upwards. How are you, man? Last week was our first time kind of yeah, but it was also our first time, we did a couple of pre-records. We ourselves as professionals had a little bit of a break where we were able to reset and kind of recalibrate and get our juices flowing.
With the family, I've given you every Friday night for the past 119 weeks.
And I think people honestly thought through that time where maybe we were in some public conversations that they thought that, oh, once this is done, we're not going to hear from those guys. But little do they know, we're coming back with just a little bit more oomph in our fists for your buttholes. Do you understand what I mean? We're coming with a little bit more of that hip, for those of you that understand.
We're pissed off and we don't give a fuck anymore.
We're real Johnny Cage uppercutting right in the nuts, if you know what I mean. Don't forget, he fucking was the character that hit you in the nuts. 1990s. You think they would allow that nowadays? Probably not.
If they make another Mortal Kombat movie that doesn't suck a dick, should they cast The Miz as Johnny Cage?
What was your issue with that movie? What was wrong with that?
My issue with the first two, they were bad movies. My issue with the latest one is I didn't see it.
Okay, well, shut your mouth for the slander. The first one was great.
It was only cool because we were kids and we played the game. As a movie, a story, a plot, characters, it sucked.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry that I wasn't Siskel fucking Ebert when I was fucking 10 years old.
They're dead, Brian. No one knows who fucking Siskel and Ebert are anymore.
Are they both dead?
They're both. You know what? If they're not, I hope they are, so the joke's true.
I thought it was
look it up. Roper, are they dead?
Roper and that gentleman for a short period. Anyways,
yeah,
what are we up to today?
He might be dead too.
He may be. He's dead in my eyes.
Oh, timer's going off. Gotta take my pills.
What are we? Pills for what?
You don't want to know. The first bit of news I want to get to this week is, Brian, I love me some beef. The only thing I love better than beef is when you tenderize that shit, or if it's rap beef. This week, Conway the Machine and hip-hop DJ Funkmaster Flex had it out on Twitter. Conway is mad that there's gatekeeping going on in hip-hop and that Funk Flex is one of the biggest perpetrators of that. I found the beef to be really interesting. I listened to what they had to say. Funk went off. Pete Rock joined it and went off on him, and then Funk went off on him. And it's a lot of New York shit, okay? And what you need to realize, New York is the Mecca. It's the Mecca of hip-hop, okay? Like, that's essentially where the shit came from. That's number one, okay? Then it's like Atlanta. Then I don't even know if where LA is on the chart anymore. It's probably like 3, 4, something. Anyways, New York, the New York hip-hop scene matters probably the most. I mean, you go back to the early 2000s, how important were mixtapes and New York MCs like Rough Riders, Wu-Tang, Rockefeller, Dipset. A lot of these guys were at the forefront of like Def Jam and a lot of other East Coast labels, and they were fucking famous. They led the culture. I mean, big deal. Funk Flex is not on that level. Funk Flex has not been making beats. He's not a normal DJ in that sense. He's not doing songs for people. He literally just plays music and drops bombs. Okay, so if you're gonna do that, you think other DJs that have done that have broke artists. Okay, in this in this world, that still kind of matters. We're still talking streams. Streams are important. It's not necessarily the radio anymore, but like Funk
Give us
Flex,
some examples of those artists, or I mean, of those DJs that are helping propel artists, or that may
all the
even
dudes in New
also be
York, DJ
perpetuating.
Envy, DJ. There's DJ Clue. At least he made beats and had shit. Um, DJ K Slay, RIP, one of my favorite DJs that did that mixtape shit. I mean, he had all the beefs on there. He put artists on. He broke the artist Pat Poose. I mean, he's the reason that Pat Poose got put on. Pat came to the Hot 97 studios and rapped for K Slay over and over, and he finally put him on a song, and we got that Alphabetical Slaughter. If you haven't heard it and you like lyrical rap, you should go look that up. Pat Poose, Alphabetical Slaughter. K Slay did shit. His mixtapes matter. I couldn't tell you a single Funk Flex mixtape. I know what his logo looks like because I know he had lugs back in the day. But what has Funk Flex done? Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? What has Funk Flex done lately? Like nothing, bro. You don't make beats. You're not a dubstep DJ. You're not even breaking new artists. Like all he's doing is playing the same old shit that he's told to pay. That he's like paid to play, told to play. Conway called him out. He got mad about it. The whole beef is out there on Twitter. It's great. I like reading through it because Funk tries to make some points, and Conway is just straight up like, look, we did this shit without you. If you're not going to play my shit, I don't give a fuck. I'm still going to be good. You never played my shit anyways. And it's like, what is Funk Flex going to do? He took the power away from you there. So when he calls you a cornball and all this shit, it don't matter. Funk Flex is out of touch. And what you notice in the entertainment industry is that people that are out of touch, they're fucking confused and they're often bitter. They're bitter as fuck. I had a friend, he was in a band. They got signed to a major label and none of it worked out. They didn't make it. I don't know if they even got the album out, but they got to tour and do a little bit. And he always swore up and down, like, don't get your friend signed. That dude's bitter and jaded because he's out of touch. He also doesn't know how record labels like work. Like they're just a bank. They're just a bank with a network. Anyways, long story short, because I'm rambling, I'm high now. Conway versus Funk Flex. What do you know about Funk Flex? How do you feel about this beef? Whose side are you on?
So I was asking for you to give those examples because I do think it's important to note that Conway is one of the more pivotal figures in this New York rap game that you were talking about. And for saying that New York is on the map as far as rap game goes, yes, obviously it is. It's the roots to rap and hip hop if you want to get technical with it. And with that being said, the DJs throughout New York City have always had a responsibility upon their shoulders to harness some sort of representation for the local artist that deserved it.
Represent
Now,
the streets. Play the street artists. Like I think back to the early 2000s when this shit mattered because mixtapes are essentially dead now. It's completely different how you get signed as a rapper. No one was looking at Spotify plays in 2002 because they didn't exist. But mixtapes were hot, man. I'm thinking J Hood, J
yeah,
Mills.
yeah.
I already said Pat Poose, Saigon, like a
Not
lot of New
only
York dudes.
not only for the sake of mixtapes and getting artists airtime, but think about the interactions DJs had with artists themselves in the morning. Okay, it was a point to tune into the radio stations. It was a point to tune into Hot 97 and heard who was going to be calling in, heard who was going to be talking, and heard who was going to be talking, coming on and just giving their opinion about the music, the culture, whatever it was. Radio DJs had a responsibility again to represent the artists, yes, the street artists, but not only that, they also have a duty to represent who's doing well
They're
in
like
these
the only
spaces.
DJs left that still play to break artists. You don't have that in rock. You don't
True.
even really have that in
Genre
country
wise,
because country is so big and mainstream and you're preaching to fucking families and Christians mostly that the market's different. Like
I
hip
think
hop
that's
is
a
where like
different
a DJ can really break an artist.
I think that's a different conversation in the scope of that,
Because I just
let's take
typecasted a bunch of people.
no, but let's say that we are looking at like you worked at the radio station in the desert, and like, what did they do occasionally? Not all the time, but occasionally they would feature a local artist early in the morning, right? Or late at night
Shit
during some
spots.
midnight. Yeah, during some midnight play show. And for that reason, radio is still important, right? It is important to get a local broadcast out so the local community can hear what's going on and understand what's being played and what's hot. But the only way that you can do that and the only way that you can attract listeners is if you're playing what's popular. That's why small town radio stations are genuinely or are generally broadcast through a bigger corporation or a bigger station, right? Out
Look
of a
at
bigger
your
city,
average
Los
rock radio
Angeles, San
station.
Francisco, right?
They
Exactly.
play all
They're
the
all
songs from the 90s, the
yes, and
2000s. Like, it's as if
they're
there's no rock band after 2007. Like, they just stopped making them after Nickelback.
yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy. And like to think that that's still something that people turn to for their musical influence, right? Hearing new artists, hearing new jams, whatever it is, it goes to show that that's still a very prevalent tool. And for this gatekeeping that does happen, to wrap that up shortly because we're going on kind of long winded with this topic. But yes, gatekeeping is very real. And for Conway to call it out, he is a pivotal figure along with the rest of the Griselda crew. And someone to listen to in that space and in that community. And for him to call this out, I think it's of note. And I also think that it's apparent that he feels that there is some sort of bias. And I don't say that he's wrong. I think we see that as consumers and as listeners and as fans of their music. And we're huge Griselda heads. We listen to everything that they drop, right? But we also recognize that they're not getting any type of special treatment. They fucking for sure did when it was controversy with Shady and a bunch of other problems.
They were signed to Eminem's label. When did
Yeah.
you ever see an ad or hear anything with Eminem discussing them or advertising it? Or maybe one of the other shady artists that don't exist were talking about it. Like, we talked about this on the Benny the Butcher album. There's lyrics edited out that we believe is him talking about Conway and West Side Gun's deal with Shady. Because Benny didn't have anything to do with that deal. He was never signed there. I just think that when you combine what happened at Shady Records, the fact that they didn't get I mean, I can only assume, but it just didn't feel like they got what they were supposed to get out of that. Like, they might have been promised more. And then you look at the fact that New York City DJs aren't playing them, like Funk Flex. It definitely seems like they're trying to keep Buffalo up there and New York City down here. And they're not, like, when Conway says that they're gatekeeping, what he's referring to is like, he's essentially saying Funk Flex is stopping him from getting more plays and fans.
A final note on this. I do think that it is important to listen to Conway for the sake that Griselda is a group that is completely self-made. And if there's anybody that has some sort of ear to the ground when it comes to what it takes for independent artists to break through the mold and to get a more mainstream appeal like radio play, it would be someone like Conway, Westside, Benny, one of those.
We're really talking about a dead art, though, when it comes to radio. Like, radio in, like, the era we're talking, like, 2002, 2003, completely fucking different. Like, the radio is almost, like, dead now. Like, I don't even know how they sell advertising on FM and AM radio.
I'm in the camp, and this is actually a discussion in media, a big discussion in media, especially when we're comparing traditional media to current media. And again, fresh out of school, guys, sorry if I'm fucking lecture boring, but traditional radio has pivoted more than likely to the current podcast. And I'm in the camp that that's what
and
radio
satellite.
is.
And satellite's
Yeah,
going to end up being this shit. A lot of shows like this.
Satellite's just another way of getting a podcast. You still tune in on
The
a
Jason
time
Ellis
frame.
shows, 3 hours worth of this type of shit, and then you got music that Tony Hawk would
What do you do?
program. And now that's all changed. Faction died. That went out the window.
There's a brand new show featuring Ellis and Tony Hawk called Hawk and Dragon or something of that nature. And
Are
they
you
do a show.
kidding me?
Yeah, no, dude, that's the point. And so, yeah, dude, satellite podcast. I mean, we're all
didn't know that at all.
Yeah, we all tune in on YouTube for a time frame, and what do we get? 15-second ads. Crazy. We're back to TV and commercial on a fucking schedule. Look at that.
Should we fulfill our obligation to talk about scene bands?
Hit it, dude. We got news. We got this is
all right. Let's talk about the sceniest band.
It's just gonna be fucking us tonight, so you're getting it. I hope you're all ready.
Yeah, you're getting it. Okay, so Sleeping with Sirens just lost a member. I believe it's a guitarist. Guys, look this up. Is it a guitarist? I think it is. Whatever. Jack Fowler left the band. He said this: "Hello, world. I'm here today to say that it's with a heavy heart that blah, 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 not on the tour, blah, blah, over the past year. So happy, blah, blah." Doesn't really say why. Just says he's leaving the band. "I'm ready. It is time for the next chapter in my life." All right, so a lot of band members say stuff like that when they leave a band. It's because you never, ever get the full story. I'm not here to tell you I have that story, and I'm not here to piss off Sleeping with Sirens Reddit, if that exists. What I am saying is that there's been a bunch of members leaving, and you have, like, the original member, McMaster's over here on Facebook running his mouth about the band going downhill. I think there's something to all of that. And I believe it has something to do with their prima donna vocalist, Kellen Quinn. I want to come here with an unbiased opinion and say,
no, do you?
and say
Do
that
you?
I want to come here with a positive Kellen Quinn story, because
Can I
like
just
Jordan worked with him. I know
can I-
2 other bands that worked with him, and he promised them all the same thing and didn't come through on any of them. And so it's funny, but I just ran my mouth on Facebook to
can I just
one of
say
their
that
ex-members, and he said,
real quick,
I
real quick.
said, I believe it's Kellen. I think he's toxic. I hear he just seems like a genuinely awful person. And he said, that seems to be the census nowadays. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? So there's something there. Like,
So,
why do people leave this band if it's successful?
um,
Also, on tour right now, worst tour of the year.
okay. So, I have to preface with there's got to be, if we are able to add graphics, we got to get, hey, you peons of assistance, I need you to get on this if you can. We've got to definitely have a graphic that's like a Jack in the Box.
Oh, we can't do animations. They charge too much for that.
And then boom, our little logo with a thumbs down that we got behind us pops up, and it's like, here's what we're actually going to talk about. We're not going to talk about Jack Fowler leaving the band. We're actually going to talk about what a piece of shit Kellen Quinn is. And that's just going to be how we segue into our fucking topics.
That's called a curveball, motherfucker.
I know. And that's when we need to have this Jack in the Box in there, because that's what it fucking is. It's a round and round the mulberry bush.
The story I want to come out is that Kellen
weasel.
Quinn leaves the band, or that Kellen Quinn is revealed to be Dickhead. But I don't have that story, so I'm going to turn the Jack Fowler leaving the band story into this story. Do you see how journalism works, Brian?
I was just
you
gonna
went
say,
to school for this shit.
I was just gonna say, you have the Kellen Quinn is an asshole story. You've already explained that. You didn't need Jack Fowler exiting.
Oh no, I want the nail in the coffin asshole story. I want it to be like he told a fan dying of cancer that, like, no, I won't sign your CD, and I hope you die. And then she did.
What's also interesting about this,
print that,
and it's
print
not
that
to say
now.
I'm not saying that I too am here to just dunk on Kellen Quinn like that. However, I do remember a brief period in time where everybody was just super obsessed with what kind of relationships Kellen Quinn and Maddie Mullins were in. Do you remember that? Do you remember when people were obsessed with how good of friends they were, and then all of us, what are you doing, Matt? What are you doing with your hands, Matt? Matt, what are you doing? What? No. What are you implying?
What?
I was going to say,
there's still a big group of people who listen to this on audio only.
That's true. If you're only listening on audio, folks.
Shut up, Brian. You shut your whore mouth.
Matt just simulated something that
I simulated a hole-in-one.
Yeah, lack of a better term, a hole-in-one for sure. You know what was a hole-in-one? Sleeping with Sirens' first album. Let's give it up for that post-hardcore piece of work, right? That was a fucking great album.
Was it called Cheers to This or some shit? I don't know. But yeah, there was like
that
3 songs on there that were listenable.
That was their follow-up. I was referring to, I believe it's their self-titled with that Captain Tie and Knots song. Do you remember Captain Tie and Knots? No. Okay. That. Do you remember
no.
anything about Sleeping with Sirens in there? Okay.
I'm James Dean and you're Audrey Hepburn.
Yes.
Bomb.com.
Yes.
That's all I like.
I did appreciate when that Cheers to This album came out. Cheers or whatever the fucking was. Let's cheers to this. Yeah, that song. I did appreciate that they did a video, because I saw them on All Stars that year when that album came out, and they did a video, and they were like, "Hey, guess what? You guys are gonna hate us because we got rid of screaming and all the keyboard." And it was just like they fucking sure did, didn't they? That was one of the biggest contrasts of a scene band. Was Sleeping with Sirens. They just hook, line, and sinkered us with that first album. They gave us that first album. Everybody was like, this is great. This is really good. And then
most post-hardcore bands can't just flip the switch and go mainstream like that. So, like, probably doing it.
Kudos.
But also, too,
Yeah.
mad bitter because they stole Nick Martin away and he won't do a undermined reunion tour or anything like that.
I mean, there's probably more things than Sleeping with Sirens preventing the undermined reunion tour.
Is it? I mean, I don't know what the other guys are doing, but we already missed the 10-year. I mean, fuck.
Shout out to Nick Martin. He's always been very cool and very awesome. And
I don't think he likes me, but I like him.
I definitely don't think Jack Fowler is leaving the band because of him. So
No. Worst tour of the year. They're calling it the Control Alt Delete tour because you want to end task on that shit. Also, the band they're touring with, Point North. Interesting tidbit about them. They have been soliciting a photographer to join their shows. And they said they wanted to give a opportunity to like an up and coming photographer. I don't know. It sounded like a lot of bullshit, like they were just trying to get free work. But then you read other tweets and you find out that one, they haven't paid photographers for doing the work that they said they were going to pay for. And then the other ones that are probably not even getting paid, the girl shows up to the venue and the band doesn't guest list her, tries to get in contact with them, finally gets a hold of them, and is told there's nothing we can do for you. So like that seems shitty. So you look on their Twitter now, and while they're soliciting for a photographer, there's people on there saying you still haven't paid this person and you left this person hanging. And their reply is, oh, but we have a budget now. They're basically admitting that they fucked over people, but there's no apology. So we professionally reached out to Point North for a comment if they wanted to say anything about the photographers that they dogged, and they didn't take that opportunity to explain anything. I think it's shitty. One, I've been in that situation before. I've been at the venue, I've gone to do the interview, and someone didn't guest list you, whether it be a band dude or a TM slipping up, or like the rare times that a publicist, not going to name names, I'm actually not this time, but fuck that guy, just straight up like didn't guest list me at all. And I get to the show and talk to the band and like, oh, we had no idea about it. It's like, well, that's cool if it's in your town, but in some cases, some of these photographers, eager for the portfolio, drive like 3 hours out of the way. And then to arrive there and leave empty-handed, like that's low. And you acknowledge it and you know it happened, and there's no public apology. So it's kind of the same thing with every other band we've called out on this show. It's just show some accountability. No one's free from making mistakes. I've made mistakes. I've had to come on here and apologize. Why is it okay to dog these people who obviously support you, who are probably fans in some form, and you waste their time and their money on this shit? I don't think that's cool. They know they made a mistake, and they're basically like, oh, we have a budget now, it's okay, we can pay the next person. Well, could you at least apologize or pay the last person? I mean, shit. You can't do that in a word-of-mouth industry. I mean, there's a bunch of photographers getting tagged. They're getting tagged on a thread, but there's a bunch of other people saying, hey, don't work for these guys. They already did this. This is how this scene operates. Now, it's amplified when you're a mainstream artist because it's not a couple people on Twitter ratting you out for not paying someone. You're talking about scandals, TV coverage, paparazzi. That's ugly. Like the fact that like this shit, like, come on, don't do this. You'd be a better band than that. Point North. Someone said they're an international band. I have no idea. After this, it didn't make me want to fucking listen to them. So that's another reason why you need to stay up on your PR. We give every band on this show a chance. Hell, I've listened to some shitty music this week going through stuff. I listened to the entire Travie McCoy album today.
Oh, no. For what I will say on this, I necessarily don't think I'm going to go. I mean, what's unfortunate is they've deleted tweets and they do have a couple people calling them out for not being paid. And like, listen, guys, communication's not going to get any easier down the line, especially with social media and things like this. And you really got to have people that understand nuance and can convey nuance and convey messages through the social medias. People are accusing them of not paying, and their only responses is, we've put together a budget and
Yeah.
we will be
We got
paying.
it together now.
No, they didn't say now. They didn't
No,
allude
no,
to
I'm
then or now.
paraphrasing for them. It's like, oh, we have our shit together now. You can fuck with us now. It's like, no, like
You
who the
can't.
fuck's gonna trust you?
I don't see it in that light, only because of the way that they responded. It's anyone who sees this, they are not going to pay you. And their
For
only response is,
reference,
for
this
reference,
is
yeah,
the tweet.
I'm
So
reading
many
it
of
right
you have
now.
reached out. Spots are filling up quick. If you're an up and coming photographer and are in one of these cities or on tour, DM us if you'd be interested in shooting our set. Now, when somebody says the phrase up and coming,
Real
what
quick.
they're referring to is cheap.
Okay. Can I just go back to my point real quick? And that was the specific just response that they had. We put together a budget, and they were responding to someone saying, hey, they're not going to pay you. And like, they didn't address the person saying that. They just said, hey, we have a budget now. So their responses are very lackluster in the sense that they're not providing any type of verifiable proof that they actually are going to pay them. Now, with that being said, they are independent bands, supposedly, or at least a smaller act band, to where they should understand that all of the type of work
I
that
think
they're
they're on
going to be
Hopeless.
all of the type of work that they're going to be occurring, right? Or all the work that they're going to be needing to hire people for is more than likely going to come at the cost of people needing to be compensated and provided some sort of, money for these acts that they're going to be doing. And as a professional band, they should understand that. Okay. What you also shouldn't do, and this is for anybody that is coming up that doesn't want to get caught up into these situations, and I hope you just pay attention to this one thing if you're going to listen to me. Don't address these types of situations on social media, for the reason being, you don't make it any easier on yourself when you do have to explain to someone that, hey, yes, we are going to pay you, despite people going public and saying that we won't. When you respond half-assed, like, or haphazardly, I guess, if
They're
you
from
will,
LA.
when you respond the way that you do to these social media posts, you leave yourself wide open for ridicule and for people to continue to call you out because you're not providing any type of substance. So just a word of note, maybe don't address public affairs like this. Maybe don't even put a public post and involve the public. Okay. Who knows who you're going to get when you make a public message like this?
Someone's gonna
Anybody that wants to come
screenshot that
out,
admission and they're
somebody
gonna
that wants
rub
to,
it in your face.
yeah. And then what are you going to get? Who knows who you're going to get when you do this? I also really hope that you're not looking for a cheap way out. You did point it out. Yes, the way that they're addressing this message is they do sound like they want to pay for it on the low, maybe make it a little bit more cost effective for them so they're not breaking themselves while they're on tour, because it is a tough industry. We get it. But that also comes with the price of who's doing the work for you. And as a responsible professional band, you need to understand that you need to compensate them appropriately. So I highly doubt you want to just take a Joe Schmo off the street to do your photography for you. You should probably look at someone that does a professional business and maybe discuss rates, and then talk about this in a manner that's professional and not out in the open for everyone to see. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh my god. Yeah, whenever you see up and coming photographer or up and coming tour manager, up and coming whatever, bands are always, they go out on tour, especially a band that's not headlining, and they have a budget. The TM or whoever is given this budget to work with to book shit, or a manager or somebody, and they're putting all this together. They're gonna want to find some cheap crew members, and they're gonna like, okay, I'll sacrifice having a shitty merch guy if I could have a good sound guy, and so I'll take a new merch guy as long as he can collect the fucking money. I mean, how bad could he be? That type of shit. And
Mm-hmm.
and on one hand, you could look at it as like, oh, but they're taking advantage of me. Well, bands are gonna do that. I mean, financially, like whatever. If you want your foot in the door and you're willing to take a pay cut, it works out. So if you want to work for bands, then yeah, be willing to, go get paid $100 a week to do some shit for them. I mean, that's how I know people like broke in.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, we did that. What did we do? We literally showed up with a fucking recorder and was like, "Yeah, what do we?" And we did it with bands that we fucking toured with and played with. We did it with small bands. Hey, listen, we're not. Matt may put on bear claws and come at people raw, right? And come at him hot with his completely unbiased approach to everything. But no,
you're an asshole.
all jokes
And that's
aside,
unbiased.
you didn't see my wings? all jokes aside, you know, it's something to be said, man. We know what we're talking about. All right, we've been there.
We know what we're talking about.
We've
Trust
showed
us.
up. Seriously, we've showed up and been fucking stooped. Okay, we've showed up and not had other people follow through, bands included. Okay, and we've also seen several bands fucking fail. All right, and we've seen bands succeed.
Yes, I've seen Sworn in live.
We know what's up. We know what's up.
I've seen Rings of Saturn live.
I fucking bet you have. Can I that Rings of Saturn poster you have in your room too is a fucking great piece of art.
I want to sell it so badly. Somebody please buy it.
Yeah, too bad they're just kind of like whatever.
It's large and it's like strapped to it's got a wood backing, so it's a bitch to mail, but it's signed by the 4 not so original members. Lucas, Joel, Ian, and that drummer that left to go play in the Black Crown Initiate. I don't know his name.
Shout out to the Black Crown Initiate. Hey man, did you know that fucking Eminem's daughter has a podcast?
Not So Shady podcast.
Yeah, dude. So I was thinking, what?
What's it gonna take to get her on? Hey, what's up with your dad?
Oh no, I didn't think about that. No, that's the point of the podcast. She's telling you what's up with her dad. That's the whole point. Is she's gonna tell you what living with like her dad was like. I was gonna say what other like really close family members should do a podcast about them, like celebrity. Like what celebrity do you want to know about whose family member could probably really fucking give it to him good?
Anyone related to Bill Cosby?
Dang, that might be the best answer.
I don't know about related. What about like ex-wife? Like maybe Tim Lambesis' ex-wife.
Yes, what it was like with him. You know what? I wouldn't want to hear any of the Cosby. That's just too dark, bro. I don't want to go there. I don't.
See the first thing you do with the
pudding.
You put the pill in the pudding. It fizzles. Fuck that guy, bro. Fuck him. Seriously, playing shit. Dr. Huxtable in prison. You asshole.
Speaking of touching people inappropriately, what about Ricky Martin getting fucking possible 50 years in prison for incest and fucking like rape?
And DV, bro.
Woo, DV.
He had a relationship with his 17-year-old nephew.
Yeah.
And when it ended, snapped and beat him up. Bro, that's wild. All I'm saying is after reading those headlines, I'm like, his nephew had to be.
Oh shit! Ricky thought so. That's for sure. That's a factual statement.
Fuck my nephew up. I'm sorry. It's not funny. We're not joking about it. We're not laughing at. We're just laughing at Ricky Martin. Ricky Martin's a fucking joke at this point.
In his fucking future behind bars.
I hope he's innocent, though. I hope that didn't happen.
Another one that we're probably not going to agree on is Cain Velasquez, former world heavyweight champion of the UFC, also faces 20 years to life for his attempted murder, what they're calling it, of 2 individuals, one of them of which sexually molested Velasquez's own child, which, you know, this is a situation we always hear people say.
Was it his own child or his nephew? I thought it was a nephew or niece or something.
No, it's his own kid.
Oh, they need to free him and pay him restitution.
And everybody always says what they would do if it was their own fucking kid. And we saw Cain Velasquez do what we all say, you know, and there is a bunch of people in the MMA community in the sports world that are coming to his side and defending him and speaking out for him. You know, a lot of them are saying, though, hey, man, you're the fucking baddest man in the world at one point. You could definitely use your hands, right? But you don't know what you're walking into. He did have a very fucking stern message that he wanted to send them, and that was, you fucking fucked with the wrong person. And, you know, what sucks is the gentleman...
that he didn't attack them with his hands? Like,
I mean... No,
oftentimes
because
UFC
that's a rage.
Dudes don't bring. Oftentimes UFC dudes don't bring guns into it.
I mean, there's a reason they're not letting them go. and that's unfortunate. He
because
had
he
that choice
fired at a
probably.
car full of people.
He had that choice probably, and he was well aware of his choice. And I think that's very prevalent, and that's unfortunate because it's probably ultimately going to lead him to some legal trouble more
Who
than what
could
he's already
blame him?
sustained. Yeah, bro, what are you going to do, man? It's unfortunate, but I mean newsworthy because I think that the sports community is probably going to be talking about that. He's arraigned for August as well, so we're going to be finding out what's happening with that
Free
here
Cain
shortly.
Velasquez. Free Brittany Griner. Yes, said it. Yes, said it.
Yeah, you did.
Yes,
Fuck.
said it.
Hey, and I'm glad that we chose to go the way we did creatively this week and maybe not talk about something. But what I don't like is did you see LeBron James' most recent response? I'm surprised he even want to come back to the United States. I'm surprised he even want to fucking be let go because the way they're treating you. Fuck us.
I haven't had a positive thought about LeBron since he went to the Lakers. So, and I really despised him on the Cavaliers because I'm a fucking Warriors fan.
I really stopped liking him once he joined China.
Yeah, there was a lot of people in the NBA not willing to speak up on China, just like I'm not willing to speak up on China on my own fucking podcast because I want that Guan Yu show money. Is this even news? Rage Against the Machine vocalist Zach De La Rocca fell and hurt his leg. Had to finish the set sitting down. Is this
What kind of injury was it? Do we know?
a leg injury?
But like a break, a sprain, what were we talking?
I don't know, man. I told the interns to
The
read
only
it, and they didn't give me anything.
I'll
So
figure
I'm
that
just like,
out. The only thing
whatever.
that I can
They brought me a drink. I can't complain.
The only thing that I can reference with that is I do remember Dave Grohl breaking his leg with a stage dive at one concert, and he
Yeah,
finished with it
he did the
in
whole
a
tour.
cast. Yeah, but he finished that show with a broken, like they fucking rap band. They like splinted it up, whatever, made it to where he can just sit there and not like be in agonizing pain, and he finished the show and then went and got surgery afterwards, and played the rest of the tour broken. Yeah,
that's a G.
Yeah, it is.
I'm trying to think of other heroic acts during a show. I know DMX had an asthma attack one time, which is pretty difficult to overcome if you're a rapper. And he they were stretchering him out like a stretcher job, and he got up. Nah, I ain't going. And inhaler, and went and killed the set. R.I.P. DMX.
I have a photo I'm gonna download real quick, because it's a pretty iconic photo with the scene. But give me a second. It kind of
Is it when that dude played at Denny's and said, "What the fuck is up,
what the
Denny's?" and they
fuck
made
is
a
up,
mural of it?
Denny's? No, but dude, that is fucking great.
That's
That
the
is
fact that that's
fucking
real.
great.
That wasn't like manipulated. That was I read the backstory on that, and it's fucking stupid.
What do you mean? I can tell you exactly what the story is. A band played at Denny's, and
Yeah,
they
threw a
literally
show at a
played at.
Denny's. Like, how the hell do you get away with that?
What are you talking about? It's iconic. I think that's fucking great.
Dude, it's one thing for us to throw a show at Boomers. You're talking about a like nationwide chain of restaurants with a corporate backing, and you're gonna play a fucking hardcore show in there. It didn't make sense.
So
It still doesn't make sense. Like, it happened, but it shouldn't have. Like, we never had the opportunity to play at a Wendy's.
I think it does make sense because in that case, it's a franchise, right? So that means the manager actively had control of being able to sit there and go, you know what? I'm going to allow a band to come in and play, and we're going to fucking do so by clearing out the fucking floor, moving some fucking whatever, and putting on a show. And that's just, to me, first of all, that's fucking ball. The fact that, and second of all, the fact that you're gonna have it be a hardcore show, bro. Like, that goes to show that the fucking manager didn't know what he was in for, if you're asking me. Like, they fucking straight let a hardcore show at a Denny's. The first thing they did was open the fucking fry pit. That's the first thing they did in that bitch, was open that up. Real quick, to reference the very popular injury during a live show. I'm bringing it in right.
Oh, dude,
now.
please be Sid Vicious.
It's not. So
damn it.
Thursday. This is just scene related, but very popular.
Favorite leg breaking, and then second is Joe Theismann.
Joe, the knee with Joe Theismann's not fun. No, the Sid Vicious one is great because not only did it happen on pay per view, so you only got to see it during the pay per view, which I did see. The next night on Nitro, they replayed it.
Yeah,
This tragic, a lot, and
a
they
lot.
even were like, "Hey, we're gonna be
That
showing
pay-per-view was so bad.
it sold out. If you're squeamish, look away." And
That's
then
how
they
the
showed it
pay-per-view
like
ended.
fucking 5 times. So check this out. Jeff Rickley from Thursday threw a microphone up in the air during Warped Tour 2014, and it came back down and hit him in the mouth or the nose and fucked him up. This is an actual black and white photo that's just been like artistically rendered. But yeah, that really happened, and everybody at Warped Tour thought that was pretty great. This was actually in
Wait,
a
who's
fucking
this?
Jeff Rickley from Thursday. This was in a full spread in alternative press, actually, that like shortly after. And it was like, yo, this dude fucking took a gnarly microphone to the fucking face and is bleeding all over stage. Also, if we're going to get real and we're going to talk about that, Bury Your Dead did a live DVD performance at Chain Reaction. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, Chain Reaction is a very popular, famous venue for, underground scene bands.
Allages.com is their
Allages.com.
website. They're the
Check it
number
out.
one all ages venue in the country, and they're like not even that big.
They had recently they
Oh
were
look,
in
Brian, you
fear
have
of
fans.
boom. Recently
And
there
that
was
guy.
a threatening of closure during COVID, and a ton of bands throughout the scene pitched in to keep it alive. It is alive. It stayed open. We saved Chain Reaction. With that being said, this live performance that Bury Your Dead did, if you've never been to Chain Reaction, it only holds about 300 people. The stage is very small. It's an old gutted diner.
Oh,
And
you could
the
oversell
fucking
it to way more than that.
Oh, you could. And that's people crawling on each other. But for the sake of it, it's fairly narrow and a small stage. The stage is tight when there's 5 people on there and a drum kit. It's tight. Well, these guys in Bury Your Dead are having a crazy fucking show, and one of them decides that they're going to spin their guitar around their shoulder while the head of the guitar goes directly into the side of the head of the vocalist of Bury Your Dead, and it lashes him open. And he has a tremendous bleed out on the stage while they are playing.
Bleed out.
And continues to do the show.
That's
They
the
cut their
entire
set
stage,
short.
by the way. There's nothing to the right of you. It drops
A
off.
wall.
That's it.
There's actually a wall right here. And then
A
behind the
small
wall,
pony
a
wall.
walkway. Yeah. And then behind that, the walkway to load your gear up and down.
Now, time out. This is an old picture because isn't the sign now a light up sign?
I think there's a light behind it that turns on, and it just like lights.
Okay, because in some of the videos, it looked like they installed a fucking light up one.
I think in just some, it's either on or off.
I'm looking for it. Oh shit, yeah, I think it is a light, but it just looks incredible. So many amazing memories at that place. It's definitely like, I don't know. I'm not saying like everything there is great. Like the sound is okay and all that, but like that venue. There's just something special about it. Do you remember the Sweet? I think it was called the Sweet Brag Tour. Devil Wears Prada, Day to Remember, Whitechapel.
Yeah.
Maybe Sky Eats Airplane, someone else. August Burns Red.
Emma Rosa and Sky Eats Airplane. No, that was Pulling Your Pud.
Yeah, that's a different one. Whatever it's called, it was those 3 bands: Whitechapel, Prada, and
that was the Sweet Brag Tour. That was the Sweet Brag Tour.
Yes, they played back-to-back nights at Chain, and it might have even been 3. But because that venue, like you said, is so small, it's under 500 people. Like, it probably fits 300, and I've been there when they've oversold it to 5. Like, literally, they're turning away people at the door that had a paying ticket.
When they oversell it at 5 too, that means that they generally have. So, okay, to the very far left, that's so that front door is literally
very left is the smoking section. The main is where
that's where you walk in, though.
Band.
Yeah. Yes, that's where you walk
right
in is
into
to the left
section.
Yes, the front door right there is where the bands load in and out, and the stage is to the right of that door. The left of the door, and then go back to it real quick. So to the very right of that building is like a reconsignment store next to it. So there's not a whole lot going on. This is the full building. So to the right of that front door, you have the stage and the almost entire capacity for a crowd, because along the left of the stage is a barrier wall that people can sit on and watch the show. To the left of that is more standing room, but it's also the entrance to where you see the door to the left. So that entire building that you see in that picture
out the
is the
pathway
venue
to walk in. Like when they oversell it, they just leave the pathway, which has like a marking on the ground, and then everything else is standing room, and you got to get the fuck out the way, or you have to leave.
It is perfect for those that want to see their first show up close of like a band like that is maybe, you know, not a fucking arena band, something to that nature. A great video I recommend is Thrice's Deadbolt was shot at that venue. You guys can also catch Bury Your Dead. They did the Alive DVD
So
out of
many
that
bands
venue.
filmed their video there back in the day. It used to
Has
matter.
filmed
Oh,
videos out of
Alisana.
there. Yes, Chain Reaction is definitely iconic and
Shouts to
deserves the
Chain. Big shouts to Chain. We should bring someone on
attention.
from Chain to come talk about the history of that motherfucker.
Dude, you know who we could probably get? We could probably Garrett from Breakthrough.
Okay, well, you have fun with that, Brian.
Damn, son.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they still owe me money.
I'm pretty sure they still do that shit.
Okay, so this was an interesting story. We were supposed to mention it last week, didn't get a chance to, but one of our favorite labels, Unified, out of Australia, mate, and band Hands Like Houses reached a legal agreement. Okay, so check this out. Between August 30th, between 30 August 2021 and the 2nd of September 2021, there were a series of comments uploaded to the Unified Social Club Facebook group page by group members making allegations of criminal behavior against an unnamed member of Hands Like Houses. Unified acknowledges that the music industry is still struggling to properly respond to important revelations of abuse, bullying, and sexism to provide safe spaces for victims and to hold a more nuanced and complex conversation about such revelations. Unified understands the serious nature of the allegations and the comments. Unified acknowledges that it is responsible for posts and comments on the Unified Social Club Facebook group page, and they acknowledge that its statement on the page that a member of Hands Like Houses was the subject of legal proceedings related to the allegations was not true. Unified and the moderators of the Unified Social Club Facebook group unreservedly and sincerely apologize to each member of the band. They list them by name for the hurt, distress, and damage which the Unified Social Club Facebook group comments and Unified's own statements and actions caused to each band members and to their personal and professional reputations. Now, the reason I bring this up is not to like talk shit on anyone, because these are allegations that were proven to be false. What I'm saying is, like, what do we always want, Brian? We want accountability. Right here, you have a label that is saying we acted prematurely. We acted on something that was found to be incorrect, and we need to apologize for it. And not only did they do that publicly, they apologized to each member of the band while not naming who the allegations were about. I think this is a stand-up act, and I never see this happen from any label ever. We're talking like just a week ago about Rise Records failing to mention anything with the Dance Gavin Dance allegations. The fact that just yesterday Rise Records, in promoting Dance Gavin's new video Die Another Day, they used a picture with Tillian and it was uploaded to Instagram stories. You shouldn't be using the band member that was just removed for sexual abuse in your ads for the new video. It's bad enough he's in the video. You shouldn't use him in the forefront of the fucking advertising.
If I'm not mistaken, that was actually a video screenshot that Dance Gavin Dance did on their stories that Rise shared. And the only reason I bring that up is because you are right. And I think that this is a beautiful example of the other side of the coin. You are right. All we've asked for is accountability. All we've asked for is people to pay attention and maybe not necessarily take everything at face value and just allow there to be some nuance to the situation. And what we have here, and just to be clear,
Crisis Records.
to be clear, the allegations were against Trenton, the frontman of Hands Like Houses, but that was news that was abundant when they initially announced the releasing of Hands Like Houses, I think in like September of last year. So it was against the frontman. Regardless, though, we see a situation where the actual allegations were false. Okay, guys, hey, these things take time. These things take, again, nuance to work out and to develop. And what we have here is a great example of what both parties are to do when something like this occurs. Hands Like Houses were very quiet. They weren't vocal. They didn't go to social media and make a bunch of statements through Facebook or Instagram or speak out of turn or anything. They just allowed their legal team, a proper legal team, to address the situation and to make light of the situation. Now, Unified was just responding accordingly. And in times, there can be pressure upon companies and people themselves to make rash decisions. And that's probably what Unified was doing. They probably made a rash decision before actually seeing it through with the band, like they should as a band representative.
I have a
But what
question for you,
happened?
Bryan.
Real quick, what happened? Both parties let this play out. Both parties assumed responsibility. There is an allowance of accountability, and it's worked out.
Don't you have to make a rash decision when it comes to these allegations? I mean, you're at a point now where we always talk about the court of public opinion
When
matters
you
more than
admit to making
anything.
a rash decision, real quick,
Public
when you admit to
relations
making a rash
matter.
decision,
You got to make a quick
Oh.
decision and boot someone.
but if it's rash, that means it was made too quickly. Let's understand that. A rash decision means, hey, that decision you made was rash. It was too quick, meaning you can allow time for things to take shape and to take form before you make a decision or make a judgment on it. You can have maybe different ideas of how you're going to respond, but you don't necessarily need to respond immediately. You don't need a knee-jerk reaction, especially as a professional company that's supposed to represent a band. Let's just look at it that way. Like, okay. And we don't know how that worked out. We don't know how that worked out.
It's difficult, dude,
Yeah,
because
we don't know
it's
how
like,
that worked out.
if a band has allegations,
evidence
I
was
want to go on
presented.
Twitter and jump down their throats.
And it's
like,
hey, bro, that's why this works. That's why this works. That's my point. That's why this all works, because that's true. A lot of you do, Matt, I love that we're having this conversation.
Oh, God.
Do what the general public does. And that's why we get these certain things play out the way that they play out. And what's crazy is the way that you do things, it does work. It does work. But we also have to paint the full picture when something like this does happen. Hey, look at guys, this was a bad situation. People probably did speak out of turn on hands like houses and did accuse them of things. But what are you going to do? It's now played out differently. And you can only sit there and go, hey, I was wrong. Or you can still choose to be spiteful and angry and mad at them and make your comments or whatever. But let's be real. The parties involved and the parties that matter, the label and the band, they've mended and they've come to an agreement. There's a restraining order against the person that made the allegations. It's gone much deeper than it just being allegations over and done, clearly. And now if you choose to ignore that, well, then that's just stubbornness on your part. But I say hooray for both parts. I'm glad how this turned out. Hands Like Houses is, from what I understand, has been respectful. I've met the guys one time. They seemed very cordial, very cool.
I like the music.
They're also from, I believe, Australia or New Zealand, right?
They're from Australia.
Yeah.
I don't know what part.
Yeah. So they're fucking, fuck yeah, I'm about it. And we don't get to do this enough. And that's great. Like, yeah, I wish we fucking could do this more often. And now people might understand why we take shit so fucking serious.
For as much as people say and miscategorize what we do here and say that we try to or cancel bands, that's not accurate. One, we don't have the power to do that, and that's never our fucking goal. We're always here to shine a light on the bad things that people do because they need to be held accountable. And in cases like A Day to Remember, look how long it took them to be held accountable. I think in something like this, we should talk about stories like this just as loud. We should talk about when a accuser is openly lying. I think we talked about that with the Booka allegations. When we talked about Booka Nile and Make Them Suffer, the person that accused her had previously accused another Australian band and had to publicly state that they lied because they were being forced to legally.
And that was something you deduced. Matt deduced that from Booka herself in a conversation that they had, communication that they had, that it was not accurate allegations. And look what happened. And that's
she sure painted a good story.
That's what's crazy about this is people are so quick to jump into judge. And I think that that's what causes a lot of problems. Let this be a little quick one too. Oh, I don't mean to share that one. I mean to share this one. Yikes says Rise posted the Tillian screening to both DG and Rise official. Now, this brings up a good point. I could be naive here in thinking that maybe a member of Dance Gavin Dance is in control of their social. If it's not, and it is somebody of Rise, well, then get this shit. Yesterday, after all these screenshots of Tillian Rose, of course, the people were up in arms, and they were like, I can't believe that they're still willing to promote the band with Tillian, kind of what you were echoing a second ago, right? And then the music video dropped, and the music video features very little both of Tim and Tillian. So that also led to speculation that maybe they had to do some post-editing of the video since it did not release with the single how the last two releases did. So for those of you that are wondering, they released two singles and videos simultaneously. They didn't do that this time. They released Die Another Day, and then they did the video. And then with the video, there was some editing, and Tim and Tillian weren't in it too much. Someone from Dance Gavin Dance went to Reddit as Dance Gavin Dance from the Dance Gavin Dance official Reddit account and said, hey, we had to do some post editing for the sake of, I guess, production editing to the song itself. And that's the reason that it was cut the way it was. And it was not altered in any way to reflect current band members. Or they didn't say current, to reflect band members of Dance Gavin Dance. And so it was alluding to the fact that, hey, they didn't make the post production for the sake of, you're muted. Hold on. You're muted. Hold on. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
They said that they're going to reflect current members.
No, not current. I was incorrect in saying current.
I was like, they're going to erase Tim when everyone wants Tim and they don't want Tillian. Like, you're fucking up.
They said they didn't do it to allude to removing any members, meaning they weren't doing it on purpose. It just happened to be edited that way for the sake of like time and continue continuity, I guess.
From my personal experience, that gets argued about on the YouTube comments. I can tell you, Dance Gavin does not fuck with their social media at all. They 100% have not made any of those posts in the last fucking forever.
This is also a valid point to our discussions. Me and Matt try to be as transparent as we can in our opinions, and we try to provide perspectives on both ends or several perspectives of how a situation or circumstance can play out. But yeah, you can't pick and choose who you want to defend and who you don't want to defend, or who you do think is going to be
not my strawberry,
who you think has the right to be outed and detrimentally affected, or who you don't think has that right. So shut your fucking mouth.
Best believe when my uncle rapes me, I'm coming on here and talking about that motherfucker, okay?
I hope this is when my uncle rapes me. I hope this is a proper segue for you because I know we have some wrestling news on the docket.
Just saying, because he's a fucking asshole, dude. You never know.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you need help or if you're having a struggling home life and you need to reach out to someone,
definitely don't call me because I don't know how the fuck to help you. In other news,
real quick, we're going to segue to wrestling, but I have to do this one. I have to cut you off on it. So John Cena got married to his fiance in Canada. Did you know that?
I think she's Canadian.
At the Vancouver Club? Yeah, they got married at the Vancouver Club in Canada. Shout out to John Cena.
Shout out to Vancouver. Smoked a lot of good weed there.
There you go.
Also, I don't know the name of it to properly shit on you, but there's a venue in Vancouver with the worst fucking bus parking ever. Fuck that place. Fuck you fuckers. Fucking hate you.
And it's whatever in Vancouver?
Yeah, but I can't remember the name to save my life, dude. Also, too, when you go to Canada and you go to Domino's.com, it don't work. You got to go to Domino's.ca, and your points that you earned in the fucking U.S. don't work over there.
Well, yeah, because they can't convert points, bro.
It's the same fucking company! The Domino's all fall the same. Oh, in other news, WWE is officially ending the PG era. That's right, folks. We might hear words like hell, damn, bitch, and shit soon on the WWE TV. Maybe we'll even get to see some blood. Oh my God, Brian, you think we'll get to see a boob? Whose boob do you want to see the most?
Definitely not going to see a boob. However,
it's illegal.
I wonder, are they only going to go up to PG-14?
TV 14.
Damn, dude. Okay, because listen, I feel that the Attitude Era of our generation was a little bit above TV 14, man. They had a first blood match on Raw. Okay, they busted open Stone Cold and signed the contract in his own blood. All right.
Oh, that was hard. That was hard.
They sacrificed fucking Stephanie McMahon to the devil.
They punted a baby into the fourth row.
No, they didn't, but they gave birth to a hand. No, they gave birth to a hand.
Punted Lita's baby.
Oh, I did not. That was not my time. That wasn't
Snitsky and Lita had a. Oh,
that
no.
wasn't
Kane
era,
and Lita had a baby, and Snitsky punted it into the crowd.
Not Attitude Era. Definitely not Attitude Era. Definitely not.
No, Ruthless Aggression Era. When everything went
hands down did not happen there. But the Attitude Era did give birth to a hand. That did happen from an 80-year-old lady. I'm excited. I can't wait for it. Are you kidding me? Sign
The
me up.
thing
Give me a
about
pair of spandex and some boots and fucking give me a 10 count.
So the thing you just said, like, okay, that it's only TV 14 is this is just a start. This is just the start of it. If it's TV 14, now we can do some stuff. Okay, when you were PG, you were pigeonholed. You could not do it. You have the room now to exceed it. That there could possibly be a time, you recall these days, when the last 10 minutes or the last 30 minutes are rated TV MA and they're going to pull off some blood angle or there's going to be a swear word. Can you imagine if they said shit on WWE? Oh my god, they say shit on AEW all the time.
You don't know shit. You fucking Mark. God
So
damn.
so Chad Gable, his thing is he comes out and says, "Shush, shush, please." They're saying there's a meme now. It's like the PG era is shush, and the new era is shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, please.
Shut the fuck
Shut
up,
the fuck up,
please.
please. Shut the
I'm
fuck up, please.
excited. It could be good. We need changes. The product bad. Every other company has something more interesting going on. The
With
only
this,
thing that company has going for it is the bloodline.
with
Roman
this,
Reigns, the Usos, the Street Profits rivalry. Everyone's injured and the show sucks.
listen, with the PG era coming to an end, we know that this to be the case. Which stars are we going to also see take an exit? John Cena, obviously, right? I know that he's alluded to he's going to wrestle one more match, or he hasn't wrestled his last match, or whatever. But he's on his way out for sure. Unless he comes back just as a thug ass rapper. What if he just comes back real thug?
It's the doctor of thugonomics.
Just
There is a
again.
possibility, but it's not. It's just you're not going to be able to turn him heel.
Oh, never. No.
It'll be interesting. I don't think he'll be done just yet.
Bro.
Edge will be done before him.
Bro. What if? Just what if? What if? What the fuck if they were like, yo, Cena, we want you to come back and just start annihilating people in the ring, and we're gonna bring the NWO back, but it's gonna be like a new age NWO. And it's fucking Cena, who is always a good guy, who's now a heel. He comes in and he just shits on every 12-year-old that's ever existed, that's ever loved him. He just comes in and shits all over every fanboy.
It's a great idea, Brian, because the last couple reboots of the NWO went over so fucking well.
There was only that one. There was only the one. I mean, Black and Silver. Black and Silver was dope.
No. You had the NWO when Hall, Nash, and Hogan came back to WWE, and then they abandoned it, and it became the Big Show, Shawn Michaels, and X-Pac.
Yeah. That sucked.
And then they added
that was
Booker
the bad
T
one.
and said no thanks, and then it broke up.
That was the bad
dumb
one.
as shit. That was bad. The Silver and Black was pretty bad.
Nah, son, you shut the fuck up.
Dude, it wasn't good, though.
Shut the fuck up.
Shush.
Shut the fuck up. You can't do
good.
the
What is this last
and
picture?
then go
Oh, that's what that is?
Yeah.
Don't forget that. Rotten
Who
Strawberry.
the fuck is Ronnie's wife? Oh, yeah, I get it.
Paige.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
I'd show her butthole, but we'd get kicked off again.
We'll do a lot more than just show her butthole.
You could zoom into that motherfucker and see what she ate.
Oh, I've been in it.
Okay. Yeah. Brian, where can they find you?
Are you fucking giving me my banner? No, you're just gonna make me do it. All right, you guys can find me at of Bryan of Death on Instagram, of Bryan of Death on Twitter. You can also find my podcast, the Common Chaos Podcast, which has a brand new episode out now for all of you to listen to at the Common Chaos. You can also check it out at commonchaos.net.
.net? Who the fuck gets a .net?
No, I do.
Whatever. Every fucking Friday, twitch.tv, facebook.com/ youtube.com/c/ iHateTheScene. Find all these links and more at iHateTheScene.com. We have a link tree on the Instagram at iHateTheScene. The Twitter is at Scene Radio because we like nostalgia, and I got the other account suspended, so we'll just deal with that. Make sure you follow those accounts. Jordan is not here. Don't bother following him on social media because he deleted them all. Next week we'll be back. Did we get the Condoleezza Rice interview? Okay, it's not going to be Condoleezza Rice, but it'll probably be someone. You know what? If I can get some love on Twitter, maybe I'll tell the Chunk story next week. I got a Chunk story and I got a John Mess story. They're both They're both very explicit.
For those of you that aren't aware, Chunk is Chunk, no Captain Chunk, British pop punk band.
They're French.
French pop punk band.
Yeah, I have a stupidly explicit,
It's
vulgar, yeah.
It's stupid in almost
It's
every aspect. Unfortunately,
immoral and it might be criminal.
it's almost, some would say, redacted.
They definitely wouldn't want me to tell it. The John Mess story, it's just something John Mess told me one time that was extremely vulgar about another band. Yeah. Anyways, we'll talk about that next week. So make sure you tune in. Any last words before we get out of here this week, Brian? I broke my desk chair. I'm about to put on Limp Bizkit and break the rest of the shit in this studio.
No, man, I can only hope.
You can only hope that what? That's it?
Yep.
The strawberry fields are rotten, people.